Why does one person, a coworker, parent, maybe it's your sibling, has this power to walk into a room and instantly ruin your mood? Because of what they said, just because of how they walked in, how their shoulders are, the tone of their hey, something in you clenched before they even opened their mouth. So here's what's actually happening. You are tracking them, their tone, their posture, the speed of their footsteps. You've turned yourself into a full time surveillance system for this person's moods, and you didn't choose to do that consciously. It's a survival skill you built a long time ago, probably in a place where staying alert to someone else's emotional tone was the safest thing you could do. And the problem is that this skill is still there, even though danger passed. So today we're going to do three things. First, understand exactly what's happening in this dynamic, the psychological mechanism underneath it. Second, build the internal boundaries that let you stop absorbing what isn't yours. And third, get into the in-moment techniques that help you to stay away from that chaos. Let's start with the mechanism. Let's deconstruct that projective loop. Think about the person who gets under your skin the most. Not someone who's mildly annoying, someone who can derail your entire day. Now ask yourself, what is it specifically that bothers you about this person? Often when people actually sit with that question instead of rushing, they find something surprising. The trait that enrages them in the other person is a trait that they've disowned in themselves. The coworker who is too aggressive, maybe you were taught that wanting things loudly was dangerous. So you buried your own assertiveness and now you can't stand watching someone else wear it freely. The family member who is so selfish, maybe you were never allowed to put yourself first, so someone else doing it without apology feels very, very, very annoying. This is projection, and it is a normal defense mechanism. We take a part of ourselves that felt unsafe or unacceptable, and instead of examining it, we locate it in someone else. It's easier to be furious at them than to sit with the grief of not being allowed to have needs. So the other person, you react to the rejected piece of yourself that they happen to be reflecting back at you. That's what creates the tether. It's not really about them. It's about the unprocessed material that their behavior happens to activate in you. Once that tether is in place, something else kicks in, what we can call the enmeshment trap. This is where the boundary between your emotional state and their emotional state starts to dissolve. You walk into the kitchen, they are in a bad mood. Within 90 seconds, so are you. Not because anything happened to you, but because you have merged emotionally with the atmosphere that they are generating. Enmeshment feels intimate, almost like closeness, but it is not. Closeness lets two people have separate internal weather and still be near each other. Enmeshment means there's only one weather system in the room, and it's theirs. You've stopped checking in with your own state and started orbiting theirs entirely, scanning, bracing. You lose the thread of what you actually feel, want, or think because all your attention is deployed outward, monitoring them. This is exhausting. It is not the tiredness of hard work, it is the tiredness of never putting your guard down. So here's the thing, you've outsourced a piece of your identity onto them through projection, and you've surrendered your emotional center of gravity to them through enmeshment. Together, those two things are why they can walk into a room and flip a switch in you that you did not consciously consent to. Now we move from understanding it to actually untying that knot, which starts with something that we're going to call the observer protocol. It is a shift in a role. Right now, when this person enters a room, you are a participant in their emotional event. You get into that emotional field they create. You feel the tension as if it's yours. The goal is to become the documentarian of that instead, someone recording what's happening with curiosity rather than drowning in that emotional field. Here's how it works. The moment you notice the familiar clench, like tightening in your chest, urge to brace, silently say, he just walked in, his jaw is tight, his voice went up, I'm noticing my shoulders rising in response. That's it. You're not analyzing why, you're not fixing it, you're not trying to calm down, you're just naming what is observably happening the way a scientist does. Be a researcher. This single move, naming instead of merging, creates that space between you and them. and it is the beginning of a boundary. Emotion that gets named becomes data, and data doesn't flood you. You're taking something that used to happen to you and you're turning it into something that you are simply observing as a scientist. Picture the tension in the room as weather, a storm system that belongs to the atmosphere, not to you personally. Now picture yourself inside a clear capsule. You can hear it, but it doesn't get to you. Another version. Imagine their emotional state as a signal being broadcast at a frequency. You can choose that frequency and you can choose to turn it off. You can register that the broadcast is happening without pulling it into your own body. The point of these images, those visualizations, isn't to pretend the tension in the room doesn't exist. It does. Other people in that kitchen or that office feel it too. The point is to stop treating the tension as something that lives inside you. It is not. It's atmosphere. Mental separation is powerful, but of course your body doesn't always get the memo just because your mind decided to draw a boundary. Your nervous system reacts first and asks permission later. So the next layer isn't conceptual, it's physiological. We need to teach your body in real time that it is not actually under threat. So what we need to do is the following. When that person walks in, your body typically does a few predictable things. Your breathing gets shallow and moves up into the chest. Your shoulders round maybe or rise toward the ears. Your jaw tightens and you might notice yourself suddenly leaning away or making yourself smaller. This is the stress feedback loop. Your body reading the room as danger, and then your posture and breathing confirming to your brain that yes, this must be danger because look how we're behaving. So you can interrupt this loop with invisible small adjustments, like lengthen your exhale, make it longer than your inhale, even by a second or two. This signals your nervous system that you're not in an emergency because animals in genuine danger don't have the luxury of a long, slow exhale. Drop your shoulders half an inch and clench your jaw deliberately. Put your both feet on the floor. Feel the ground. None of this needs to be visible to anyone else in the room. This isn't performance. It is a private recalibration. And it works because your body believes the signals it's given, regardless if your mind is convinced yet. Change your body. And once your body is steadier, you can engage a technique that pairs well with everything that we spoke about so far. Gray rock. The idea is to become deliberately as uninteresting and unreactive as a rock on the ground. Nothing to grab onto, nothing to provoke, nothing that fits that loop. Of course, this doesn't mean that you're going cold or you show contempt. It means offering minimal emotions or emotional material, neutral responses, not defending yourself, no visible frustration, not taking the bait. The crucial thing is that gray rock is not suppression. You're not stuffing your feelings down and hoping they don't leak out sideways later. You're doing the internal work, observing, breathing, staying separate, and gray rock is simply the external face you choose to show while that internal work is happening. So put all three parts together and you have an actual protocol. You notice the projection and enmeshment at play, so you stop mistaking their emotional weather for your own. Then you observe rather than merge. You are narrating instead of drowning, and you use visualization to keep a clear boundary between their storm and your capsule. And you regulate your body in real time, your breath, your posture. That physical feedback loop doesn't drag you in. Be that rock. So, of course, people walk into your rooms in bad mood and you feel that, and real freedom is being able to remain steady regardless of what they bring into the room. It's the capacity to stay yourself while chaos happens near you. And it doesn't happen through you, it just happens near you, like a storm in Florida. So the next time you feel this familiar clench, remember, name it, don't merge with it. If this gave you language for something you've been feeling but couldn't quite explain, stay with me, stay with this channel. We go deeper into this kind of psychological pattern every week. And if you managed to be in that capsule and not allow other people's negative emotions, bad mood get to you, please share in comments how you achieved that so we can learn from each other. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.